Young Brazilians are back on the menu for top clubs across Europe, and one of the pearls of this new, incredibly young generation is a guy who was called Messinho in his younger years, Estevão Willian. Suddenly, Palmeiras is becoming a hotbed for young talents in Brazil, and it seems as though in some cases, these talents will be snapped up before they even make it to their 19th birthday. Is it getting to a point now, Filippo, where it's getting to be pretty difficult for you to get excited about youngsters in your academy because you know they'll be gone as soon as they turn 18?
So more or less, yes.
Just last week, he played his first minutes of senior football. With the title locked down yet again, Palmeiras' Portuguese manager Abel Ferreira handed 16-year-old Estevão 12 minutes, allowing the youngster to partake in the trophy celebrations with the rest of the senior squad, some of which are quite literally double his age, 2 lifetimes old, if you are measuring using Estevão as a unit of time. But with one of his teammates already confirmed to be on his way to Real Madrid, what do you need to know about Estevão? A player who is just as technically gifted, many would say even more so at his age, and will no doubt be the next big export from Brazil. What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel, Rabona TV, but we have a guest for this one. Good friend of not just the channel, but a friend of mine as well, Filippo Silva from Tactical Manager TV, Brazilian boy, and also a massive Palmeiras supporter. And if you've been around for a while, you may remember that we made a video on Endrick together back when people weren't really talking about him that much, at least in the English-speaking world. So of course, we had to get the team back together for a video on this young Palmeiras talent as well. So if you're new here and you find yourself enjoying the content, why not subscribe? And with all of that out of the way, let's get to the video. Estevão Willian was born in França, Brazil in 2007. My God, this is where we're at with talent now. 2007? So I have a nephew who just turned 10 years old. Happy birthday. And sometimes I think it's easy to forget how young that really is. And so when researching Estevão further to see what I could dig up for this video, you know, I don't want Filippo to have to do all of the heavy lifting here, but I found out that Estevão signed with Nike when he was 10 years old. 10! And what year was it when he was 10? 2018. That is insane, and a great place to start when speaking of just how good Estevão really is. Prior to that, the youngest Brazilian to be signed by Nike was Rodrigo, the man who was now in a rich vein of form for Real Madrid. Prior to that, 13-year-old Neymar, who was signed by Nike while at Santos. But anyway, that out of the way, where did Estevão even catch the eye of Nike? Well, Estevão started his youth football not at Palmeiras, but at Cruzeiro, when he was just 10 years old. However, he didn't stay there long. Cruzeiro has had some financial issues in the last decade or so. In spite of their relatively recent success in Brazil, they won the Serie A in 2013 and 2014, but it wasn't just Estevão that they lost, but a certain Barcelona-bound striker as well. More on that later in this video. They are interconnected. When Estevão was promoted to the U17 side at Palmeiras in 2022, because U15 was too easy for him, man, playing against guys who were oftentimes 2 years older than he was, he started with a bang. Before he even hit 10 appearances for the U17s. From his first 9 matches, Estevão already had 9 goals and 4 assists in 9 appearances. It was around this time, at 15 years old, that he started to make waves.
I mean, if you're Palmeiras diehard, you definitely heard of him probably when he was already 15. I don't remember hearing from him when he made the move. There was some talk, but there wasn't that much hype. But we started to hear a lot about him last year, a lot, when he was 15, even to the point where Abel Ferreira, the current coach of Palmeiras, he had like a presentation, which I believe was in Porto, in Portugal, and he was talking about a little bit of leadership and all that, and he talked about some young players in the Palmeiras Academy. I don't remember if someone asked him, but then he talked about, and I'm paraphrasing, so I don't know the exact words he said, I don't remember it, but he said something along the lines like, all of you are talking a lot about Endrick, but you're going to hear very soon about Estevão. And that's when Estevão was in 2022, when he was 15. And people were already talking about him and asking to integrate him to the team, but he was too young.
Now, jumping back to the present, more like recent past, I should say, Estevão was one of the best players at the Under-17 World Cup, not just for Brazil, but in the tournament in general. Estevão helped Brazil to a quarterfinals run where they were defeated by Argentina, but Estevão provided 3 goals and 3 assists from 5 appearances, the first of which was a substitute appearance in a 3-2 loss to Iran. Now, if you jump back about a year prior to Endrick going to Real Madrid, or signing with Real, it was actually PSG who tried to make a play for Estevão and Endrick, offering 50 million euros fixed and 30 million in bonuses to Palmeiras, which of course they turned down, given Endrick's fee alone could climb as high as 60 million euros with Real Madrid. But I know what you're thinking. What about the title of this video? Talk about that. Okay.
And your feet have to do all the talking.
Messinho was a nickname that Estevão sort of cultivated himself, in a sense. I'm not going to say that he came up with it on his own. I'm sure that his love for Lionel Messi prompted his friends and teammates to call him Messinho at a young age. But does his style of play resemble that of Lionel Messi?
He's not compared to Messi. He doesn't have Messi's playing style. Doesn't remind me of Messi at all.
A resounding no. So first off, his position would be helpful for you. He's mostly played as a right winger throughout his young career, but given he's left-footed, he's most often resembled an inverted winger in that he will look to cut inside to combine with teammates, play a final ball to the back post in the box, or strike at goal. That said, he does seemingly thrive in whatever kind of roles asked of him. Create chances from the half spaces. Cool, he can do that. Exploit his speed to run in behind the back line when the opportunity arrives. Definitely can do that. Beat defenders one-on-one by the touchline. Easy.
But he seems like the type of player that if he can pick a pass and become a bit creative, maybe a bit more ball secure too, he can maybe play as a 10 also.
And so with all of this in mind, who does he really resemble when he plays?
Very similar to Neymar, but a lefty. He's left-footed. He can go right, he can go left, but lots of flair, dribbling ability, can take you on one-on-ones like very few players can. Very much more like Neymar. He's a winger. But I'll say this, Estevão reminds me of Rodrigo. That reminds me of Neymar. So yes, that's what I think it is.
Am I going to talk about weaknesses? No. I'm loath to say that he needs to develop certain parts of his game still, such as decision-making and at times the quality of his pass. Why? Because the kid is 16 years old. These are things that will develop as he matures and gains experience. Right now, the biggest thing that will be seen as a hurdle for him is his physicality. Compared to Endrick, who keeps coming up in this video, Estevão resembles a 16-year-old, slight in frame, while Endrick, with his low center of gravity and immense amount of work to develop his strength, is a player who can body adults for fun, as he did. Highly touted youngsters out of Brazil has always been a thing. With the amount of world-class, generation-defining players that have come out of that country, you can understand why clubs around the world are trying to identify and acquire talents at younger and younger ages, year upon year. Well, while respecting FIFA regulations when it comes to signing youngsters, of course. We saw Real Madrid's blueprint, which came as a reaction to not landing Neymar back in the day, as they pounced quickly on a hat trick of Brazilian youngsters, landing Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo Goes, and Reinier Jesus, remember him, in quick succession. Then, just last year, days before the World Cup final, Real Madrid also announced the signing of then 16-year-old Palmeiras forward, Endrick. The hype is certainly there with Endrick, but it's not really at the same global level for some reason when it comes to Estevão.
For some reason, it feels lower. I don't know to explain it why. Not in the sense of like he's less talented. It just seems like people are talking about it a bit less, or maybe my memory's failing me. Because we talked about Endrick here at the channel before the move, and it seemed like he was already. Because I was talking about him even before, but when we brought him here, there was already some hype. People were like, who is this kid? Kind of goes back to this. Endrick had the hype Vinicius had, because Vinicius had a lot of hype when he signed for Real Madrid, while Estevão seems to be more at the Rodrigo hype. And Rodrigo, as good as he is and as good as he was already when he signed with Real Madrid, he was balling out for Santos. It seems like it's more like that, but not in terms of his talent. If you talk to people in Brazil and related to Palmeiras, they rate this kid very highly, pretty much as highly as Endrick.
My guess, if you were to jump back over a year, almost 2 years at this point, there was a viral video of Endrick and his performances at the Copinha, the massive sub-20 or under-20 tournament in Brazil, where as a 15-16-year-old, he was absolutely physically bullying players who were 19 or 20. For me, that's the one thing that's missing for Estevão that allowed Endrick's profile to grow and grow and grow beyond Brazil, a video like that. Naturally, with how Endrick played out, those in the know of Brazilian football, especially of a Palmeiras persuasion, began wondering which European giant would snap up Estevão, another pearl from their academy. Barcelona has come up as an option given how from a young age, Estevão spoke of his love for Messi in Barcelona, a place he dreams of playing. Though their finances make predicting transfers to Barcelona incredibly difficult. You never know when they'll pay up front for 6 players or if they'll sign a bunch of free players. You never know. Now, back when we spoke about Endrick in the summer of 2022, a few months before he signed with Real Madrid, we predicted that Real would be the place that he would end up. Reason being, Endrick has the same agent that facilitated Vinicius Jr.'s move to Real Madrid. It was 1 + 1 = 2 kind of situation. Remember how we mentioned a certain talent that Cruzeiro lost alongside Estevão? There's the link to Barcelona here.
The thing that's interesting is Cruzeiro also lost Vitor Roque. They lost Vitor Roque as well from their academy to Atlético Paranaense. And that was a little bit of a fun fact. But what's most interesting is, if I'm not mistaken, and if that hasn't changed at the time of this recording, Vitor Roque and Estevão have the same agent, André Curi. And Vitor Roque is obviously going to Barcelona. We know that already. That deal is done. And Estevão has said that his favorite club is Barcelona.
I'm sure if he could choose, or at least based on the info we had previously regarding his favorite team and dream move, Barcelona would be the spot for him. Barcelona would be where he could make that right wing his own and become the next Brazilian demon on the wing for them. Move over Rafinha, I guess. However, we've mentioned Real a few times, and the blueprint is already there for an Estevão signing, as well as interest from Manchester City, who of course procured Gabriel Jesus from Palmeiras previously. I mean, with a talent like this, almost everyone is interested. Regardless, Barcelona or any other club in Europe will no doubt fight it out for Estevão very, very soon. In fact, don't be surprised to hear about a deal being in place by, 2024 or so. And there's a reason for that.
Recently, obviously, Palmeiras had Gabriel Verón that went to Porto. And he, I believe, was the best player in the U17 World Cup a few years back. And he was a very promising talent for Palmeiras. Palmeiras did not sell Gabriel Verón when they should have, when he was like 17. And they had very big offers, and things didn't turn out to be what it was, which is one of the reasons why I think Palmeiras sold Endrick so early. They didn't want to hold on to him. And it's also one of the reasons why I think they're trying to cash in on Estevão before he even turns 18. Just get the deal done. Because Gabriel Verón, and because things didn't turn out because of injuries and some attitude issues, they ended up selling him to Porto for what, like 10 million. That is why I think Palmeiras is trying to cash in on these players regardless of their major talent.
So we can't say where he will go or when, but we can prepare you to hear a lot more about this kid. By all accounts, from everything I read on scouting platforms, from top Brazilian talent scouts, everything, you can see that he has all of the raw attributes to grow into a world-class player eventually. But that's the key word with young talents like this, to grow into a world-class player. But just as life can imitate nature, we don't know which way he will grow. All you can do is give him the right conditions to thrive and apply some time. Wait and see which branch he goes down, and enjoy the football along the way. Thanks once again for watching this video, guys, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a like, as that lets the algorithm know that this video was worthy of being watched, rather than rotting in a dark corner of YouTube. Shout out to my man Filippo, who's always so fun to talk to. All of his links are in the description below, but beyond that, I thank you, and like I said, enjoy the football. Ciao.